Very warm welcome. Welcome to Heart with Preeti. Type in which city have you joined us from. Warm welcome to each one of you. Type in the cities you are joining in from. Warm welcome to our Insta viewers on Heart with Preeti. A very warm welcome to each one of you who are joining in. Well, I'm Preeti and I help women become digital entrepreneurs from the comfort of their home while they spend time with their families, and specifically in the domain of kids after school activities. And Heart with Preeti is a conversation that we have every day with many people who are creating an impact by helping others grow, by helping others transform. We have a different guest each day, and each of our guests inspires us, motivates us so that we take action in our lives. Drop in the cities you have joining us from. Looking forward to a healthy interactive session with each and every one. Yes, keep dropping in the cities that you have joined in us from. And our today's special guest is a wealth, abundance yoga and wellness coach. She has abundant of knowledge when it comes to yoga and wellness. Join in me while I invite our guest on board, none other than Saatvika. Saatvika, if you can see me, please type in yes. Have our guest for today, Saatvika. She is a yoga and a wellness coach. Hey Saatvika, welcome to Heart with Preeti.
Hi, Preeti. So lovely
Very
to
good
see you.
evening. So lovely to see you too. Glad to have you on our show, Saatvika. Can you see me and hear me?
Actually, there's a bit of an issue. I can't really see you, although I can hear you. Your screen just went blank now after I joined the live.
Just retry if you can do that now.
Should I exit it and try it again?
Yeah, you may do that. Viewers, can you see
Okay.
both of us and can you see both hear both of us? If yes, please type in yes so that we can know you can see and hear us, both of us. Satvika, is it better at your end now?
Uh, I can't see you actually. I can only hear you.
Why is that happening?
Maybe I can just join it again. Should I just exit it and we try it again?
Yeah, please, you may do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome all our viewers. Warm welcome to Heart with Preeti. Please drop in the comments which city are you joining in today. Satvika, is it okay now? Let's wait while she joins. Yeah, I can hear you. I can see you now, Satvika. Can you see me now?
Yeah, there's another. Yeah, no, I can't see you.
Oh,
But
okay.
I think you've joined somebody else in the live.
It's
I can see there's another account that's been joined accidentally. There's some technical issue right now. Sorry, guys. We're just trying to fix this. Thank you for
yeah,
being
yeah.
patient.
Is it better now, Satvika?
I think we can go ahead, Preeti, because I guess in your side you can see both of us, right? And I can hear you, so there's no problem.
Viewers, can you see both of us? Please let us know so that either we are supposed to fix it or we should take it forward. Please drop in a yes if you can see both of us. I can see all good wishes coming in the comments. No worries. Let's carry on, Satvika. So
Sure.
before we deep dive into yoga and wellness, one quote that inspires you. It could be from anywhere, not just yoga and wellness. It could be from anywhere, related to
A
any.
quote that inspires me is the one that is by Bruce Lee, which says, "I don't fear the person, the man who knows 1,000 kicks. I only fear the one who knows how to do one kick, who has practiced one kick 1,000 times." So somebody who's a master of his craft is somebody who you really need to take seriously.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said, Satvika. Very well said. So let our viewers know more about you. I know you are a Reiki Grandmaster. You are a yoga and a wellness coach. Something more we would like to know about you.
Okay, sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Saatvika. I've been teaching for almost 15 years now, and about 10 years ago, I started teaching my passion subject, which is yoga. Yoga is something that changed the course of my life entirely, and that's how I eventually became a very dedicated student of it. And finally, after some time, decided that I wanted to share this practice with others as well because it was so life transforming for me personally. So I spent a couple of years in ashrams learning not just the yoga practice, but also the yogic way of life. And when I came back to Bangalore, I realized that this was what I wanted to bring back to the city and introduce others to. Because although this is very much an inherent part of our culture, we are not sufficiently exposed to it in today's modern life. So this is something that I would love to share with others because I think it's a beautiful thing that we've got from our own country, and I think we all need to open our eyes to the precious things that are in our own backyard. People from all over the world come to learn this beautiful art form and sacred practice, spiritual practice, but sometimes we don't give it the importance that it deserves ourselves.
So true. That's absolutely true when it comes to yoga because that's where the roots are. India has its roots and it's we who are not valuing it the most. So any specific thing that brought you into yoga? Any reasons for you to, because you mentioned you had been into teaching domain. Any specific thing that brought you into yoga in such depth?
Yes, actually, I had a very personal experience. So I had been introduced to yoga right from school, but at that time it was just like an activity, something that I felt very drawn towards, but I didn't have a strong enough reason to make it a part of my life the way it is today. However, about 15 years ago, I went through a very stressful period in my life where I was in a job where I wasn't very happy. I didn't have much time to myself because it was like a 3 hour commute to work. And there were a couple of other things that happened in life where I really felt very stressed and very burnt out to the point that it started affecting my normal functioning. And I also saw how I was not able to function well at work. I wasn't happy in anything that I was doing, although I had finally gotten the job that I wanted, and it was what my dream had been for a long time. But somehow I just wasn't happy, and I felt this void and lack of fulfillment inside. And although
Mhm.
I continued with that for a couple of years, the more I just continued on that path, I realized it was just burning me out. And then eventually I decided to just stop and take a break. And then got into meditation. And that was the
Okay.
start of the journey. And then from there, it led me to yoga. And over the years, I started finding that that sense of contentment from my practice.
Absolutely. And this brings in such an important point that we are absolutely rushing day in, day out. And we do
Yeah,
not pause and take a break in our life. And it is when you took that break that you got your calling. You took that break, you
very
were not
true.
finding your productivity. You found your productivity reducing and you decided that no, I have to take a break for a while before I move ahead. And this generation, I mean, we all of us, we are just in the phase of just going, 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 not even thinking about taking a halt. Absolutely, very well brought in, Satvika. Very, very well said. So when we
Yes,
dive into
exactly what you
yoga,
said, Preeti. It's exactly that. We sometimes don't know which direction we are going in. We're just rushing without knowing where we're going.
absolutely. And I think we really need to pause because when we are giving that pause to our own self, it is in those moments that we get new avenues explored up, I mean opened up for us. And maybe that's a better opportunity as compared to what we are already pushing ourselves into. Very well brought in, Satvika. Very
Exactly.
well brought in. Yes, yes. So, what beyond when it comes to yoga and wellness, like meditation you mentioned, I'm sure
Yeah.
asanas, breathing, and when it comes to wellness, there's a whole lot of other things that are a part of it. So for our enrichment, for the enrichment of our viewers, take us on a journey of yoga and wellness. I mean, what all should we do in our day-to-day life that we think that we are contributing at least a bit on our well-being?
Sure. So actually for me, although I practice a very beautiful, strong yoga, physical practice, that is not what yoga is. For me, yoga is connecting with yourself. It is connecting with yourself every single day so that you live in alignment with who you truly are and don't move away from that. Because the moment you start to move away from who you are, that's when you start feeling a lack of fulfillment in your life. That's when you start feeling emptiness in your life. So that day to day connection, all the time being connected with with your own deeper self, that is what yoga is. So does that mean that people who can't do any physical practice cannot practice yoga? Absolutely not, because yoga is that is just one little part of it. You can meditate and practice yoga. You can do a lot of social service and practice yoga. You can just be in a state of happiness, spreading joy around you. That is yoga. Now, sometimes when we go through very difficult episodes in life, there is a deep disconnection with self that happens. And this, when it becomes extreme, is termed as trauma. Trauma is when you're very disconnected from yourself because of some incident that happened and you lose that connection with yourself. So sometimes we need healing to bring ourselves back in contact with our own selves. That is what healing really is. It is coming back into connection with your own authentic divine nature. And when you are able to do that, then all the trauma gets healed, and that's how healing takes place. So, when I talk about wellness, I talk about yoga as well as healing, because sometimes when you need a little more than just your day to day routine to process things which have disconnected you from yourself. So there are
Correct.
various ways one can do that. There is Reiki. Reiki is energy healing. There is emotional freedom technique. There is NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. There is inner child healing. I don't know if many people know about inner child healing, but it is one of the most powerful ways to connect with your authentic self. Because what happens when we go through a difficult time, we sort of reject a part of ourselves that went through that. For example, you go through a difficult episode. Imagine you were in school and somebody laughed at you for something, and you were a very small child, and it was a very small incident. But for that, maybe 3 year old, 4 year old, or 5 year old child, it was something that left a very deep impression. And that child rejected that a part of himself or herself because they just needed to cope with the situation at that time without really having the tools to be able to do that. So, inner child healing takes us back to those instances and sort of makes us love those parts of ourselves which have been in the shadows for so long so that we can feel that complete integration and self love at a completely different level.
So, Satvika, when you say inner child healing, let me know if
Yeah.
I've understood it correctly. is it that you go back to that particular event or incident that took place when you were a child or maybe teenager, and
Yes.
you built in the acceptance of that scenario or an incident which took place, and you accept it because at that point of time maybe you would have rejected it outrightly. As you mentioned, you were a 3 4 year child and some incident happened and that child rejected it. So is it that you
Yes.
have openly welcomed that incident and now you have accepted and are moving ahead with your learnings from whatever the incident had been? Is that inner child healing in precise?
Yes, very much. So inner child healing
Okay.
can have, it is basically going back to different versions of ourselves in the past, right from the
Mhm.
time we were born till maybe even 5 minutes ago, any time in the past. And going back to those moments where we lost connection with ourselves because of something that happened suddenly and unexpectedly, which did not make us feel good at the time.
Okay.
So when we go back and heal those memories or heal those energy imprints within us by giving unconditional love and acceptance to those versions of ourselves, and also safety, because sometimes those versions of us felt unsafe in certain situations. That's how we can bring those energy imprints, heal those energy imprints which are negative, and integrate all of it so that we can expand our energy and be free of all those negative imprints. So yes, that is exactly what inner child healing is.
Absolutely. You had also mentioned about meditation, like
Yeah.
yoga meditation is a part of yoga, is what you said. So,
Yes.
many people have this question that I am not able to stay calm with my own self for even 5 minutes. There are n
Yeah.
number of thoughts that keep coming me. I mean, I see many people having. I mean, I'm a firm believer of meditation because I strongly believe that that gives us a strong power from within. But parallelly, I've even observed, many people coming up. I mean, they have this question that how to even sit in calmness without even a single thought for minimum 5 minutes. So, any tip you would like to share that with our viewers on how to do that?
Yeah, that's a beautiful point you brought up, and this is something that is a very, very common question that comes up among people who are trying to meditate. So, when we do meditation directly, we are working directly at the level of the mind, which is not always easy because the mind is very fleeting and it's a very subtle level of our existence. So, in order to be, so that is why if you see the yoga system, it is so designed where you start with the body first, because the body is something that's a little more gross, it's less subtle. So, it's easier to work with and it's easier to get into that meditative state through movement initially, because that way you have your mind anchored in your body. So, your mind doesn't float all over the place as much as when you're just sitting and trying to manage your mind without actually having that physical awareness with it. So we start with a physical practice.
Mhm.
Once we're comfortable enough with that, we move into breath work. Breath work is a
Okay.
little more subtle than physical movement, like pranayama
Mhm.
or any other form of breath work, because
Right.
now you have a certain level of capacity to be able to sit with yourself, to anchor your mind into the present in your physicality. So now you're ready to move into the next, the more subtle level, which is working with the level of the breath. And when
Okay.
that happens, from there, a stage comes where you can work directly at the level of the mind, because your mind has gotten, you've gotten that practice of just being present with yourself. So that's how
Mhm.
you can effortlessly move into a state of meditation sometimes, or more easily than just sitting directly for meditation. Now, everybody is different. So some people naturally are born with the ability to meditate. That's probably because they've had, different experiences before and stuff like that. But
Right.
for most people, it takes up a certain level of practice. So for people who really can't sit, and yes, it is very challenging to just sit directly to meditate if you've never done that, it's a very good idea to start with a moving meditation first, so that you can anchor your mind in your physical presence, then move into the breath work, which is a subtler level, and then come to a seated meditation or a meditation where you're still and working with the mind directly, working as an observing, just being present with your mind. and
Okay. So
yourself.
what is moving meditation in that case specifically? I mean, is it
So
not
for
just
us, it
sitting
is
playing a
yoga.
yogi?
For us, it is the asana practice,
Uh-huh.
but moving meditation is actually bringing conscious awareness to any form of movement. So you start with an asana practice, or maybe for dancers, it would be their dance is their meditation. You know, it's any kind of meditation. For maybe people who are into martial arts, that is also a meditative practice. So start with a moving meditation first, and then you get some, or even if you're walking, when you're walking, just bring conscious awareness into your movements, mindful walking. So that way you bring your mind into your body, you root and anchor your mind into your body. And that is a sort of training for your mind to be able to meditate.
Okay, okay, got it. Viewers, any question that you have with regards to yoga and wellness, please feel free to drop in your questions. We'll be taking them towards the end. We have an expert with us. Any question with regards to yoga and wellness, we'll be more than glad to answer them towards the end. Yes, Atvika, please continue on that.
Yeah. So sometimes I've seen when I teach, what happens is people start with the physical. They never probably haven't really been in the practice of meditation before. So they just start with the regular physical practice and then we wrap up with some breath work. And then effortlessly, there is a deep stillness that is cultivated through this process. And they just feel that pull from within to sit still. And that is spontaneous meditation that is taking place. And that is the most beautiful thing that happens. So when that happens, because of your mindful movement and breath work, that is where you actually get into a space of effortless meditation, which is called dhyan. There are different levels of meditation. Initially, you have to put some concentration, which is effort. And then you no longer need effort because that effort just sort of falls away and it's effortless meditation. That is the state of dhyan, which is just pure awareness, where you're just aware without putting in much effort. And that is really where we want to be.
Sure, sure. So, is there any technique which you can recommend when it comes to strongly meditating in a very strong? I mean, I know it's difficult to for the beginners, but most of our viewers would be facing this challenge that they try to get into meditation, but is there any tool or maybe a surrounding background music, some chanting or some mantras that can help them immerse into a meditative state? Any tool here which can help our viewers?
Definitely. There are lots of ways to meditate actually, Preeti, because there are different types of people and different people feel inclined to different things. So we can't say that there's only one way. Some people like to focus on a mantra. Some people like to focus on a god or a deity that they connect with. Some people like to just focus on their breath. Some people like to listen to a guided meditation. So to start, it doesn't matter how you start because that is just the starting process. Eventually, it has to bring you into a state of deep awareness within yourself. And most of them would do that. So it brings you into a state of deep concentration, and then that concentration becomes effortless, and you come into a state of deep awareness of yourself. So it doesn't matter what process you begin with, as long as you get past that initial resistance and restlessness
Right.
that is bound to take place for in the beginning. That happens always. You just have to wait that period out.
And once this
And for people who
initial,
are too restless, sorry.
yeah, please continue. Please
Yeah, I
continue.
was just saying that, yeah, I was just saying that for people whose mind is too restless, it's a great idea to come into your body first. So just do things with your hands. For example, have you ever noticed when you're doing mundane chores around your house, you just get a sense of quietness inside you? For example, if you're cooking or you're just cutting vegetables or folding clothes, why? Because you're just doing something with your hands. You're just bringing awareness to your body without actually realizing that. So if you just bring awareness into your body, doing some simple movement, but you're just focusing and doing that, that starts the process of meditation. So bring awareness to your body in whatever way that you're comfortable, and then that helps to get past that restlessness that comes in initially when you just can't sit directly.
Absolutely. And this reminds of another concept like the examples which you mentioned with regards to our day-to-day scenarios like clothes folding or maybe cooking and all, is it also that our body has now
Yeah.
become accustomed to those daily mundane things? So once even we get accustomed to
Yes.
meditation, it will also become natural and a part of us. Like you mentioned, clothes folding. So it maybe it's become a part of us. That's why we do it at ease. So maybe once we reach that state of meditation, that even that becomes a part of us, we might experience it with complete ease. Is that so? What you're trying to say?
Yeah, it's
If,
something that doesn't really require you to use your brain too much. It's something that's very simple. So you don't have to
correct.
use your mind. And in meditation, that's what we want. We want the mind to stop. So that's why you start with a simple task which you are comfortable doing, or you just start with one thing where you have to focus because that also gets your mind in one direction and it's not scattered all over the place. So either do something where your mind is not really required or where your mind is in one direction, focusing on one thing. So even if you're doing your work and you're concentrating on it, that is the starting of meditation.
Absolutely. And I read this very recently somewhere that when somebody's practicing meditation, let's say, and if they have a candle flame or a diya or a lamp light in front of them, so that helps them concentrate. I mean, this is for the beginners maybe. So how impactful is that also? I mean, just looking at the flame, does that increases your meditative process? I mean, if you can throw some light on that.
Yeah, so that is just a one way to focus your mind. Now, what happens? Our mind is generally scattered all over the place. We've got thousands of thoughts going on all the time. Some of them we are aware of, some of them are going on as background music, and we're not even aware of the stuff that's going on in our mind all the time. So, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to channel all of them into one focused place. So, either by
Right.
looking at a light, at a candle, or by focusing on a mantra, or by just, some people do mandala art, whatever it is, the object doesn't matter. It's just that process of bringing your mind into one focus. And then when you're so deeply connected with whatever you're focusing on, that is when that effort drops away and it becomes a flow of meditation. So initially there is effort in the way of concentrating and bringing focus, and then
Mhm.
once that focus is steady for a certain period of time, then the effort part of it fades away and it becomes effortless. So initially you just have to get past that initial time where your mind wants to run away from it. Your mind wants to run away from that object to focus and think of, oh, but I need to do this. Oh, but tomorrow this is going
Right.
to happen. Oh, but next 1 hour this is going to happen. Rather, just stay with what you're focusing on and stay with it. And then you'll notice that when you stay with it for enough time, the effort suddenly falls away, and it's this beautiful flow, which is the flow of dhyan.
And very beautifully you have explained it to us also that how we can, concentrate. I mean, what are the ways that we can bring in that concentration and focus? Viewers, any questions with regards to yoga and wellness, please drop into the comments. We'll be more than happy to answer your questions towards the end. So, Satvika, going back to your journey of being a yoga and wellness coach, how do you think it is impacting you at your personal life? I mean, what are the, I would say, what is the topmost benefit which you would say that if somebody starts today after being inspired by your conversation, what is that one thing which they can look up to, that yes, this is what will help me on the line if I start doing it from today onwards? Any
Yeah.
experiences in your own journey?
Honestly speaking, after I started teaching and sharing the practice with other people, my own learning deepened to a completely different level. So, for people who are just starting today, I would say just start and commit to it for some time, because today's world is very fast. People are looking for very quick solutions for everything. But sometimes to really get the true benefit of something, you have to give it a certain amount of time. So, for example, in yoga class, people say, can I come for one trial class? But what are you actually going to get from one trial class? Because it's not a 1 day solution.
Fair enough.
One day
Fair
will make you
enough.
good, feel good for that day, but if you want to see a transformation in your personality, in your mind state, all of that, you have to commit to it for. So commit to it not for
Absolutely.
anyone else, but to actually experience how beautifully it can make you feel. And yoga and all of these practices are all experiential. How much ever somebody talks to you about it, unless you yourself experience the peace that it gives you, unless you yourself experience the contentment that it gives you, you'll never feel attracted to continue more. But for that,
Yeah.
you have to give it some time. You have to, it's not 2 minute noodles. It's something that requires a little more time, but it's so worth it when you really
I,
life
I think
transforming.
I think it is more that they can reach to a conclusion rather than an explanation. Meditation hidden into it.
Absolutely. So, for example, in my, I teach at a studio, my studio over here in Bangalore, and we have a lot of people who start and stop because they don't have that commitment to, take it through for a